Hey y'all, welcome. You are here at what we call Whippoorwill Fields Farm, which is the home of Heritage Ways. And we named it Whippoorwill Fields Farm because, of course, we have more fields than we have trees. And when we first moved here, I was so soothed, and still am, by the sound of the whippoorwill. How many of y'all have heard the whippoorwill call? I mean, it's just an eerie but soothing sound to me. They make their nest in on the ground, and so we have them back behind our house, and we hear them, and it's just I love to hear them when we're camping too. Well, the iris has a meaning here in Tennessee because the iris is the state flower of Tennessee. So the purple iris is, not the bearded, but just the basic standard purple, beautiful purple iris. And these irises were all brought from the home where we lived. We moved here 7 years ago because of economic issues in our town, and had to sell our 1800s home. So that was very hard. But to make the transition easier and to feel like we were bringing a part of ourselves, I brought lots of irises. And some friends one lady has given me more that I've added to the collection. Well, my memory of these irises is back when we moved into that house in Marshall County, Tennessee in 1976. My daddy was the minister, and thankfully, but some of you might understand, especially in country churches, you know, everybody wants to help the minister and feed the family and give us things. So, not money, but, you know, chickens and country hams and just free gravel for our driveway. And they were always blessing us. And I had a wonderful childhood growing up. And in that country church atmosphere. Well, Miss Mary Ruth and Brother Hugh, that's what we call down here, that's what we do, Brother so-and-so and Miss so-and-so, or Sister so-and-so in the church. So, Brother Hugh and Miss Mary Ruth, Miss Mary Ruth grew irises. Oh, they were gorgeous. That was her thing. I mean, every color. Smells so sweet. Irises smell so sweet. Well, Miss Mary Ruth was known all over that community. And iris roots, the tubers, it's not roots, but it's the bulbs, can be separated, divided, given to friends. My forsythia's want to be in the picture. Okay, let's put her down here. Miss Forsythia wants to be in the picture. So Miss Mary Ruth was very kind and gave my mama irises. Well, that was in the 70s, and there is no telling how old Miss Mary Ruth's irises were before then, because I mean they were married back in the 40s, so they lived the same place all their lives, married lives. So these iris bulbs are probably at least from the 50s, 1950s, and maybe even before, who knows. So they're really a heritage flower. How many of y'all, I would love to know, how many of y'all are familiar with irises? How many of you grow them? I know you know more than I do about them, but I know enough to appreciate them and appreciate these particular irises. So I'm going to work on digging them up and giving some to Aunt Linda and my cousin Jess, and I'm sending them to a special friend, sending some in the mail too. So I want you, my friend, to know the heritage story of these irises. So, all right, well, I'm going to work on that. We've got yellow, purple, white, and I want my Aunt Linda to tell you a further story about some of these irises.
Okay, this iris that Katie has in her yard has a little story. Many years ago, Katie's mother came to Ohio and got some of Katie's great aunt Ethel's iris, and she had a nice large bed of hybrid iris of a variety of colors, and she was so proud of them. After her death, I moved a bunch of them over here, but Katie's mother came up from Tennessee and took a variety of them back to her house in Tennessee. And when Katie grew up or moved away, she lived in the house too. When she grew up, she moved away and took some of those iris with her to where she lives now. And now they're moving. And so I was in Tennessee and I said, can I have some of those? Those are Aunt Ethel's. So I have made the full, complete trip back to Ohio again with Aunt Ethel's iris. And now they are back in their, fourth home or fifth home. So we thought that was kind of funny.
I planted this wisteria here and I wanted to train it to go up this tree, and I planted it, I don't know, a few years ago, 3 or 4, 5 or 6 even. It was a twig, and this is the first year it's blooming. This is the first year, and I know you can't tell because of the sunlight, but it is trained all the way up the tree, which I wanted. One day, we didn't plan on moving from this house anytime soon, and one day I wanted to have a huge tree shape of wisteria. So someday, and I hope the next owners appreciate and enjoy it, but they will have that. But this is the first year. Is that not gorgeous? Gorgeous. And look who else is gorgeous, coming to bring me some water. Hey, Sweet Pea. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. What have you been doing? Working with the reel mower? R-E-E-L. That's what it's called. All right. Thank you. Manpower. John Boy power. Right? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so you see how it grows. I've always been taught, I mean, where I've grown up, these things grow easily. Hot, full sun, maybe a little bit of shade, but full sun is best. I've been taught, it's my experience. And I've been taught where I grew up in the country, they said they were so plentiful. I mean, you could just take them and throw them out in the field or throw them out in the garden or whatever, and they would grow. I wouldn't do that. Wouldn't advise that. But anyway, so see, that's how, I'm not going to break these right now because they're going to travel, and I want them to stay together and hold as much moisture as possible. But you could break these off and have the different iris plants, the bulbs, and they would proliferate. I mean, they will really multiply, and then you can divide them. I will say, and there's master gardeners out there who can correct me, that's fine. You can do that in the comments, add your advice, but all I know is just my country wisdom that I've grown up with, that if it blooms in the fall, you dig it up, separate it, whatever, divide it in the opposite season from when it blooms. Okay, so technically we're not supposed to be doing this right now in the spring. We should be doing it in the fall since they bloom in the spring. That's true, but when we moved here 6 years ago this month, right now, we were moving. And I moved these 6 years ago and it didn't hurt them at all, and they have multiplied. So, you know, take that for what it's worth.